everybody knows everybody. Everybody gets dressed to make it mean something. And they go out and they pay money for having fun. That's the thing. Somewhere along the way, somebody figured out how to put a price on fun. So now everybody knows everybody, and people are calling it a business. But everybody's having fun.
Well, when Solomon was doing Dirtbox, which was probably among, if not the first, among the first of the downtown warehouse illegal dance clubs, I was working over at the Zero, which was the original Hollywood after-hours drinking spot, which catered to a much different clientele. It was people standing still, drinking, being very Hollywood. So before that, there really hadn't been a movement of downtown warehouse clubs. And after Solomon did that, everybody started Plastic Passion, Josh did that, and that kind of downtown opened up. Before that, live music was taking place downtown at the Brave Dog, or certain warehouse things that people would do, independently promoted things with bands. But no, there had not been an illegal after-hours drinking club from week to week before Solomon, as far as I know.
What was LA like when you got here as far as the underground scene?
LA was lame when I got here, and it's nothing to do with me because, you know, the changes. I helped a little bit, but LA was truly lame when we got here. At that time there was only Bar Deluxe and Glam Slam, and all the clubs, and Fetish something. All the clubs were run by the same people. The whole scene was death rocky, kind of like Blitz, the Blitz scene in England 10 years ago. No, 13 years ago. So basically it needed a change, LA, definitely. It was. You could definitely tell that people in LA had always been adulating London. Were now ready to do their own thing rather than copy. They wanted to do their own, you know, kind of express their own independence, which they now do.
I guess I would say that the pioneers for us, I mean, the people who started that real quick wave, 84, 85, I know there's 1,000 people probably going to see this video going, oh, but I did it. I would have to say that the people would probably have been Solomon. I think he's the grandfather, even to us.
Were there any other undergrounds in Los Angeles before you got here?
When I got here, there was actually no undergrounds when I first got here, but 2 weeks before I opened Dirtbox with a friend of mine who ran the Dirtbox in England, John Seidel and Matt Dyke opened Power Tours, and that was absolutely raging and rocking. They were doing Saturday nights, we were doing Friday nights, and the only difference between us and them was that we stayed underground the whole way, the whole journey. They went legit like after a few weeks, so that's why we get the credit for starting the underground scene, because they quit early and went mainstream. But you know, they definitely helped. I mean, there was a revolution, Power Tools, Dirtbox, that whole thing was just like the total pill that LA needed.
What's the first club that you ever did?
Well, the first club I ever did was Power Tools, and I kind of inherited it. So I was already working there, and then I ended up doing it in a certain stage of the club. So I was, you know, I never had to really work my way up. I was just locked into my situation. So that was the first one I ever did. The first club I ever went to that was like anything that we know now was Danceteria. And when I went in, it was completely different than anything like I had ever seen. First of all, there was like an attempt to make a visual statement in kind of a cool way. I remember seeing there was like 6 TV sets, all with like Hitler Hitler like speaking speeches and like people dancing to Sex Pistols music. It's like usually back then it was like a rock club. You go see a band or you go to a disco and it was like Studio 54. But Danceteria was different. It was like it was dirty, but it was aesthetically like happening, and that was like the first nightclub as we know now that I've been to.
Well, the way it's happened for me, I really can't talk much about New York because I'm not there enough to know what the scene is, or I haven't been involved in it. But the way it started here for me was when I first went to work at the LA Herald Examiner, the now defunct and sorely missed Herald Examiner. It was a great place to go to work because it's a media outlet. I mean, we were on top of everything from daily news to the scene to fashion clubs, sports, everything. So it was a great way to start in LA, knowing about what was going on. And I just heard from somebody there about this club Dirtbox, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, whatever, and went and thoroughly enjoyed it because it had that kind of outlaw, underground obviously, feel. And from that, I mean, you just get flyers to other clubs, other parties. I found, for me, that's just the way it worked. You go to one thing, you start finding out about other things, and it just continually grows like that till you get used to seeing the people doing these things and start to get to know them, and then you're kept aware, from them, what's going on, simply by being there or by getting to know them.
I probably saw Solomon do an underground club. I've got to say that Dirtbox was the first one I'd ever gone to, and it just blew me away. So I don't know if he's a pioneer as far as Matt Dyke's concerned, but he is as far as I'm concerned. Solomon was the first person to really, bring the underground club thing here to LA.
I don't know. Solomon's Dirt Boxes were some of the greatest, wildest parties I've ever been to. Some of the big old underground, those things. Those were wild parties. That's where you saw wild things. I don't know. I've done a lot of wild things at parties. What's the wildest thing you've ever done at a party?
Craziest things you've ever seen happen in a club?
There's so many crazy things I've seen happen in a club, I couldn't pick out one.
Strangest thing I've ever seen in a club. The strangest thing I see at clubs strictly is just the people.
Shooting. Water the bush. I was standing outside. I wanted to go in this new club that was competing against me on Tuesday night. Next thing I knew, bang, bang! Huh. Everybody was on the ground. 500 people standing in line, now 500 people lying on the ground. One guy hobbling over the car. Big ordeal. That was the wildest, craziest thing I ever saw. Actually, the craziest thing I ever saw was this chick vomit, puke, and throw up, all in the same motion, fall face forward, knock herself out, right in front of officials. They didn't care.
That's weird. After a while, nothing's really weird. You get involved in this scene that everything seems normal, and then normal things seem weird.
The weirdest thing I ever saw in a club would have to be at, I'd say, at M&M's. There's a little room that you can crawl into. It's in the wall. And I'd say one night I went in there, and the weirdest thing was a guy and a girl were crawling with their clothes off in this little room, licking the ground. I would have to say that was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in a club.
Well, I think I was at this club Scream once, and I saw this guy, he was near the stalls, and this girl's giving him a blowjob.
Fucking maniac bitch, she kept coming in there every time. She would come up and she would go into the DJ booth and get past security and how you doing? I was like, cool. And then she would do this, she was like some gymnast, she would throw her foot up and I thought she was gonna kick me and I was like, yo, just relax. And she would layer it and would go up on my shoulder and then I look at her, I look down and she never had no drawers on. I was kind of and because her dress was in my view, I was the only one that could see this shit. And she would be like, hi. I was like, listen, I had problems getting on the guest list last week. I'm sure you'll be able to take care of that. And I'd be like, oh, snap. Oh, wait a minute. She trying to show me the pussy so I'll get her on the guest list. All right, I get it. And so, like, stuff like that, I guess you would call weird. But, you know, I mean, weird and not completely disturbing because I was chuckling. I definitely had a laugh out of it. But, you know, she was bold enough to show me pussy, I had to put her on the list. But, you know, it was like
a club where a couple of weekends ago, where there was a shaving booth. People were getting a shaving room. People were getting shaved, and early in the evening it started with like they were shaving their heads, and then their arms, and it went further down. You know, so by the end of the night, some people were completely clean shaven. I think, you know.
What's the strangest thing you ever seen happen in a club?
Ricky Rackman drunk on New Year's Eve, or on closing night at Power Tools. Quite drunk. I wouldn't go into it because it's distasteful.
Probably when I was DJing, a girl stripped right in the middle of the dance floor. It was pretty strange because she did it really slowly. It took her about 2 songs.
Tell me about that time. All right. This one time, Ernest was at this club. I don't know. It was really weird. Just what'd you take that night?
Tell them, Jimmy.
He was wearing Ernest, not a lot of people know Ernest wears women's undergarments. And this one night we were at a club, and he just decided that it was a good time to show everyone and just kind of let them all know. And so it was at the boot. And
I don't even remember.
He took off all his clothes and got in the jacuzzi there, you know, and just kind of sat there. And
It was weird. I don't even remember.
He doesn't remember.
What is one of the craziest things you've ever seen happen in a club?
Far too many things to measure. Well, let's see. At one of the warehouses where Dr. Susan the Loose was at, and I lit fire to that. Shut your mouth. I lit fire to Dr. Susan the Loose. They weren't there though. Yeah, it was cool, huh? Anyway, yeah, Willy Wonka and Dr. Susan. You're right. Willy Wonka and what was the other one? Land of Oz. I lit fire to that. And
Why do you always do that shit with your cigarette?
this. It's cool. Anyway.
Any promoter that does this thinks they're creative. That's why you're doing this. Everybody's trying to create the hottest dance club, the hottest light show, the hottest bands.
Well, the objective is to create an environment that the public can go and get entertained. Visually, physically, and if you're able to do that, the clientele will follow you and they'll be loyal to you. Okay? As long as you can continue to provide that to the clientele. Once you lose one of those elements, the clientele goes somewhere else. The attention span is extremely short. They like to be entertained. People in Los Angeles like to be entertained. We've been on the East Coast, where the people entertain everyone else. Here, the people want to be entertained. It's a totally different environment.
The only reason why I got into this in the get was because I just thought that there was so much bullshit music out there, and so much bullshit being played on the radio that I knew how I felt when I played the radio in Los Angeles, and even in New York whenever Red Alert wasn't on, which was that I couldn't stand it. No one was offering anything creative, and I always thought that if you felt strong about music and you really want to do something about it, then step up on your own and say, okay, take music to as high as you can. And I opened Funky Reggae, and every club I did from the start was basically because there was such a overflow of bullshit on the radio waves that I knew I wanted something else. So there had to be at least 100 other kids around LA that wanted to rock out to some reggae that you will never hear on the radio. Rap, which at that point you never heard on the radio, and even now the only rap you hear is like bullshit hammer type shit.
It's quite simple. It's that, as far as, what I feel I'm doing, it's a positive thing with music. I'm trying to move people and show them a good time through music, and that they don't need other elements to have fun at clubs if the music's good enough.
The reason why we got involved in nightclubs, because we want to get serious about partying.
I think people have lost track of the prime reason why they go to the club. Let your hair down, have some fun, be objective, have a good time.
Partying. I really like to see people expressing themselves as much as they can, letting out people that they are inside. A lot of people think that a social life is a very unimportant thing to have intellectually, but I think it's a healthy thing to have intellectually. I mean, it leaves you a means for stress relief. It really helps.
We're under a lot of stress when we do those nightclubs, especially on a big production. It's a lot of things going on, and we're the ones remembering the lights went out, the DJ thing went wrong, this went wrong, this bartender hurt themselves, this girl hurt herself, or we got to make sure the sound system's right. You know, there's just like a million things to do. Oh, what's that security guard doing? What was the door guy being nice to everyone that walks through the door? Is everyone having a good time? Are you having fun? And then, and that's what we have to deal with whenever we do that kind of stuff.
I'd have to say that the reason we all do these clubs is to provide an environment where people can have fun and enjoy themselves. You know, I really don't like most of the major commercial clubs. I think it shows that they're out just to make money. And what we want to do, we want to provide, you know, a different environment done by people who are in touch, who are into the music, who like it for themselves. And I think that's really important, and it shows in a lot of the stuff that we do.
Mike, how did you get into this underground club business?
Well, actually, quite by accident. I started doing legal clubs, and there's so many legalities and licenses and whatnot else that you need to run a club. So instead of, you know, looking around for a place and getting all the proper licenses, it's much easier and much more profitable to do it underground, where you can make a lot more profit at it, and you're not strapped by like all the laws and whatnot that can make a club unfun.
I like the underground parties better because, first of all, they go till daylight, you know, whereas, well, if there's a party, a home party is great. They never last as long as underground parties. If you're talking about underground clubs as opposed to, or, you know, compared to legal clubs, I prefer underground clubs because you can stay forever, you know, till daylight. It's a much freer environment. Everybody's like just getting loose, giddy, having fun, dancing up a storm. You can drink until, you know, until you don't want to drink anymore. There are no restrictions whatsoever, which is great. I mean, that's the whole idea, I think, of clubs. You just go and let loose and have fun. And with underground clubs here, I mean, in LA we're almost forced to have underground clubs because everything shuts down at 2. And nobody's ready to go out until 11 anyway to begin with. So 3 hours, you know, of a weekend night is not enough.
What was the most expensive party that you've ever had?
The most expensive party I've ever had was sex. It had a $17,000 price tag. And all my clubs seem to cost a lot of money, and they always start off costing a couple $100, but before they're done, they're thousands and thousands of dollars. And people seem to think that we make so much money off of these clubs, and we do take in quite a bit, but it just barely covers our costs. And we walk away with so little, sometimes you just wonder why you do it. But it's kind of an addiction. It's so much fun just to walk out there at 6 in the morning and the lights are turned on and people are still dancing, and they walk out of the club and the sun is coming up. And it's just amazing. And on top of that, walking in at 1 in the morning and seeing thousands of people sweating and dancing and just this euphoria. It's addicting.
Clubs about? What are clubs about? know, everybody has their own reason for doing a club. Some people do it for fun. Some people do it to get, you know, friends. Some people do it for an artistic outlook. Some people do it for money. There's a whole bunch. I don't know all the reasons why other people do it. There's so many different variations. But I do it, you know, for fun and to make money, and for every other little ingredient that other people might do it for.
Well, if I were to get rich on popularity, then great. But no one gets rich on popularity. You get rich on making money. And the key to the economy is to have a lot of fuel. If you don't have any fuel, then you don't have a vehicle. If you don't have a vehicle, you sure can't get around. So you think about it. I do it not for popularity or to get laid or any of those following circumstances, but I'm a businessman. Basically, it's the economics that attracts me to this business. The money.
I did a couple of clubs, and just like the ball just started rolling faster and faster, more and more money started coming in, more fame, more fortune, more records.
What's the most money you guys ever made off of one party?
We'll never say that.
How much did you spend on your first party?
Our first party?
First party.
Our first party?
300 bucks?
About 300 bucks.
We had about 500 people show up.
Yeah.
We thought we were kings. How much should we make?
Enough. Same as we make every time. Enough.
You can show this to the IRS.
We made
a dollar. We made $1.
That's important to me. Everybody misleads one another in this business because he wants to make the faster buck. The name of the game is not making a buck. It's the strength in which you have, because I don't care how much money you have. It's who you know and how well you know them.
You know, there's a big myth about nightclubs. They're not as profitable as people think in the long run, but I'm still here.
There's a lot more money to be made now than there used to be. But then again, right now things are really hot. It's really hard to do an underground party. You're gonna get busted.
With a lot of the underground stuff, we kind of have an unfair advantage over the normal clubs because a lot of the restrictions are legal restrictions placed by the drinking age and stuff like that.
So it costs more to run a party, which is why it costs more to get into these damn things. That's why they're $20 now, some of them.
Everybody that is true to the scene and just, you know, believes in it and is not in it to make, you know, a quick buck, but is in there to provide, is there to provide entertainment for people. I mean, that's what these people come here for, to all these clubs, is to be entertained.
Money's money. You gotta have money to party.
I'll tell you something. 5 years ago, it seemed a little bit more radical to me because it was just starting to happen. Like these undergrounds were just starting to break through. There's a lot like from the Dirt Box, you know, Power Tools. All those clubs are great. You know, never been done before, and here was like underground, just exploded. That was great. Now sometimes it seems to be a little bit monotonous.
And I think it's the scene now, the psychedelic acid house kind of thing. Is the first real general overall scene, I think, to emerge since that scene we created in 1985, as far as all the clubs being in kind of like the same vein of what's going on.
I mean, LA is is the party town, I think, you know, as far as like acid house and stuff like that, you know.
The way the underground has grown, when I first came onto it, it was manageable. You could go out 6 nights a week and pretty much go to everything. There were nights when you couldn't find anything to do. Now, with all the clubs that are opening, everybody's opening clubs and restaurants, and then there's the undergrounds and the live music and the rap and the rock and roll and the dance and movie premieres and TV this and art this and fashion shows. I'm completely overwhelmed.
There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of diversity or creativity on things. You know, I mean, the Roxy's probably been the same way the Roxy's been forever. I mean, not a slam on the Roxy, but it's just, you know, if I was restricted to just going out to the legal venue of nightclubs, I probably wouldn't go out much.
Around, whether it's, you know, I made this comment and some other thing that I did, underground doesn't mean an illegal nightclub in a warehouse. Underground is just pure, you know, cut and dry is away from the mainstream. It's like a whole separate subculture away from the mainstream.
Undergrounds.
Underground. Fun, exciting. Something that I'll be doing until this happens to me.
The reason why you could do it 4 years ago and why you can't do it now is because the cops are hip and they know what's going on, and there's been an escalation of underground clubs going on, so everybody knows. You know, I've talked to undercover cops. You know, I said, you know, and they told me, hey, you know so and so, you know so and so, no, how do you know them? And they know everybody. Everybody knows everybody.
Police should be doing better things.
I'd like to see them staying open longer. And I know that's something we're all trying to do, but it's really hard because the obstacles we have against us, as far as, you know, the city officials go and what you can't or can do, they make it really difficult. I should know I've got plenty of court cases coming up because of it.
LAPD sucks. Fuck the police.
The cops right now are doing their job to change things. Unfortunately, it's bad for me, it's bad for a lot of people, but at the same time, it's going to hurt me as far as enabling to make some money right now. But I think that it might be for the better of the scene because I think a lot of people have ruined it.
With all the things going down in LA right now, as far as the parties getting busted, vice, it's time to band together.
The only changes I'd like to see in LA, which I think are very important, is I'd like to see the heads of the fire department, building and safety, and the good old handicap division get together and pick the situation apart and see what's going wrong, why nobody's communicating with them. If they solve the problems between them, I think a lot more promoters could be legal and there'd be a lot of less fire traps here, and we won't have a happy land situation happen over here, which I think right now we're on a crash course with.
I like to see clubs. I like to see the zoning commission here in LA kind of kick back a little bit and let us build some clubs from the ground up, make it a little bit more affordable here in LA, so that we can get to the level that Europe and New York are at. Zoning and everything just doesn't allow it to happen. I like to see clubs getting larger. I like to see clubs open longer, and I think that'll draw more people.
Mr. Bubble, another nightmare. The fire marshal shows up and we're limited to a 600-person capacity, and you know we had $12,000 in that show. We were broke even at best with 600 people. That was bad. And Groovy Ghoulies, I went to jail on that show. That was a nightmare. Although the food was really good. Salisbury steak.
Food was good where?
In jail. It was really good. It was Salisbury steak, green peas, mashed potatoes. Good shit.
If there was one type of food to serve in clubs, what would you guys want that food to be?
Mushrooms.
Peas. Well, it's gonna sound funny. I know somebody sitting on the sidelines gonna laugh, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Pizzas with anchovy.
I'm gonna have to just opt for the freshest food, freshest fruit. Fresh fruit.
Garlic shrimp.
I think one type of food in clubs, hot dogs.
Sushi. Okay, now, if there was one type of food just that you can have in a nightclub, what would you want that food to be? It's
Sushi.
self-explanatory.
Sushi.
So say.
Looks like fish, tastes like fish, quivers like fish.
Fried chicken. I want that food to be fried chicken.
Say it would probably have to be cold strawberries.
Teff's idea of fruit. I think fruit's a great thing, especially when it gets to be 3 or 4 in the morning. I mean, I get really tired. I finally found, Teff taught me, you know, eat an orange or a pear. It was actually Dave Seven. Dave Seven's the one who had some fruit, and I was tired of shit one night, and he gave me some of this fruit and it woke me up. I think fruit is it.
Food, man, come on. You just asked me, you know, about ecstasy and acid and stuff. Why food, man? Come on. You're wasting my... Oh, God. No food. No food.
Skip.
If I could pick one type of food, I don't know, I'd probably make something up actually that's never been made before. Maybe something like Willy Wonka's Everlasting Gobstopper. Maybe an Everlasting X fucking pill, I don't know.
I think that Jello should be served is because Jello is a fun food. Jello makes people laugh. Jello is just a fun food. It's fun, it's sexy. You can do anything you want with Jello.
It's very integral part of the club scene, Jello is. Watch it wiggle, see it jiggle.
Mexican food.
Cookies. Milk and cookies. Or bagels.
Pizza. That's easy. Everybody likes pizza.
What type of food served in a club? Egg rolls.
Egg rolls.
Well, this is a good question for me because we always used to have food and weird stuff at Power Tools. The one food that is the best food to serve is once we had this installation where we had someone cooking liver and onions, and it's so awful. It blows everyone right out of the club. So if you want to have a nice, quiet, peaceful night, liver and onions are really good. It was really wild, actually.
It's not where you're from, it's where you're at.
All the people that go to the clubs, all the people involved, could best be summed up in one word. Peace. Peace.
I would say use it. Use the scene. It's there for everybody. I mean, a lot of people are intimidated by it, but there's no reason to be. Everybody should be able to and can get into the scene, use the scene, have fun, experience it. Don't be intimidated. You know, just fucking let loose.
You know, you have to really open your mind to things and not take life so seriously. And I think the people who go to clubs and run them want to create some sort of happiness, and that's what I'd like to do. But the kind of happiness that comes from letting go of your troubles and just letting go, you know, and going into that different world, going into that Disneyland and seeing life like that, and it can always be like that.
The misconception. The misconception is that us included among these people, that we're all competition amongst each other. The reality is that the owners of all these facilities that we make so much money for and benefit from our hard efforts. And it's very unfortunate that all these people cannot somehow in some way, shape, or form work together to assist each other and help each other in each individual situation of each nightclub and entrepreneurship. And it's impossible because you have conflicts and dates and whatnot, but the owners of the place really benefit from our hard work and hard efforts. Because the clubs in Los Angeles could not survive without the DJs, without the people like yourself, like me, like DK, and all the many other people involved in this film that make the nightclubs what they are.
The only thing I really would like to do is do clubs. That's my life. And clubs are trendy, and you might go from one type of club one year, and the next year it might be a totally different type of a club, but there will always be clubs.
I think that one of the more positive things about the nightclub, or the clubs these days, is it really brings people together. I mean, sure, they're just together to have a good time. They're not together to do something, to leave something important behind. But maybe it is important. Maybe just the mere fact that it's 2,000 people getting along, and not just getting along, but sharing each other's experience in a very positive way. I think that that's a really beautiful thing.
brilliant. LA's brilliant.
Everybody knows everybody. Everybody gets dressed to make it mean something. Then they go out and they pay money for having fun. That's the thing. Somewhere along the way, somebody figured out how to put a price on fun. So now everybody knows everybody. People are calling it a business. But everybody's having fun.